I think we are live. Fantastic. Yay. All right. Kia ora tato. Welcome back to another Q&A here at Digital Boost. I'm Georgia Hatzis, and I'm really, really excited today to have Lisa East with us from Matter Agency. You all have been asking for what you need, which I love. I always do that call to action where I ask, what do you want to learn about? You wanted to learn about Meta Business Suite, and I found Lisa. Lisa, I'm telling you, like, hi, I love your website. I love doing a deep dive into your blogs and everything in there. I want to talk more about that if we have a chance later, just about your social media agency and what you do and what you offer. But right now, for today, we're doing the 101 basics.
Yep.
Meta Business Suite.
Mm-hmm.
How to set it up, what it is, all of that stuff. So any questions you might have, you can pop them into the Q&A. I'm going to field those for Lisa. If you're on Zoom, Q&A. If you're in LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, you can pop any questions into the chat. I will keep an eye out for those. But just also, if you've got really technical, intense questions, I don't know if this is the time to ask them. You can ask. I don't think we'll be able to answer, but we might be able to direct you into the person to ask. I don't know. But Lisa, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm very pleased to be here.
So let us get started. I see we've got a lot of people joining us, so this is fantastic. And again, for those of you who are just coming on, pop any questions into the Q&A or your chat functions. Awesome. Great. Let's get going.
Okay. Would you like me to share?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, go for it. I'll let you know when it shows up.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
There we go. Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, are you happy for me to dive into it, Georgia?
Go for it, Lisa.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much for having me. As I said, I'm absolutely stoked to be doing this. I've got a real passion for small business marketing. Obviously, we're an SME ourselves, and I know that a lot of people have a lot of questions and they're sort of really curious about Business Suite. So it's really cool to be able to give a bit of an insight. Just to give you a quick background, I'm Lisa. I run Matter. We're a social media agency. We're based in Auckland, but we work with people all around New Zealand and in Australia as well. So, so that's just to say that I do know what I'm talking about. We're going to cover off a few things today. I'm going to give you the skinny on what Meta Business Suite is. I'm going to cover off just briefly a key difference between Business Suite and Business Manager, because that is something that trips people up. We're going to talk about why, as a small business owner, you would be using Business Suite, integrating it into your day-to-day. We'll go for a quick behind-the-scenes tour, and then I'll give you a few bonus tips at the end, just to get you set up for success if you want to start using this tool. So, before we start, caution tape. There are a few things that I just would like people to bear in mind whilst we're going through this. The first is that all of the information that I'm giving you is accurate as of today, which is May of 2024, but Meta is constantly evolving its tools and its platforms, right? So that is to say that if you decide to pick this up in 3 months and something looks a little different or it's moved around, don't freak out. The tools are always changing and generally for the better, but it can be a little scary. The other thing I wanted to say is that Meta is Meta as an organization, but Business Suite in particular is a really big tool. It's huge. So today we're doing a 101. We're just scratching the surface. But is it going to be enough to give you a really good sense of what it's capable of and how you can start using it in a way that's a little bit more guided and gives you a bit of a plan of attack in terms of what things will add value to your business. Now, the last thing, which leads neatly onto my next slide, is that Business Suite is different to Business Manager. And for some of you, you'll say, well, duh, that's obvious, everyone knows that. I can tell you from experience that a lot of people get tripped up by that distinction, and they are very different things. So if someone's talking to you about business manager, they are talking about something that's different to business suite. And I thought with that in mind, it's worth just having a really quick 2-minute look at business manager, just so that people understand the difference. So we'll do a fun game called Spot the Difference, which I've set up. So on the left of your screens, I've got the menu for Meta Business Manager. On the right-hand side is the menu for Meta Business Suite. And it is a really neat way of just understanding that they do quite different things. So essentially, Business Manager is like it's a tool that allows you to own different assets within Meta, whereas Business Suite allows you to control and use those assets. It's got tools to help you do the things within your pages and your ads and whatnot. It allows you to actually get the work done. So a neat way of looking at it. This is something, a graphic by Magic X. I thought this was a nice, simple way of looking at it. And this is quite a simplistic view, but it just says that Business Manager kind of is the box, it's the bucket that you put it all in. Business Suite owns a number of or will look after a number of the assets within that. So it's worth bearing in mind. So just recapping, your Business Manager is where you will place and own, look after your key assets, and that might be everything from your Facebook page down to, if you're selling products via social media, your catalogue. And a final thought, you've said, you'll see at the top of the golden bubble in the middle there, I've said AKA business portfolio. To my point about Meta continuously changing things, it was called Meta Business or Facebook Business Manager, and it seems to be evolving to be called business portfolio. So you might hear that term bandied around as well. So that is my quick chat on Business Manager. We're really here to talk about Business Suite. So let's get back to that, get back to the main program. So Business Suite, essentially it's a native tool, and that's just a fancy way of saying that it is software that is owned by Meta. It's been developed by Meta. And for those of you, again, who some of you will say, well, this is obvious. Others will say, well, hang on, I didn't know this. Meta owns Facebook, it owns Instagram, it owns WhatsApp, it owns Threads. So it's a really big organization, and Business Suite is one of the tools that it offers people to manage some of those assets. So essentially it's a dashboard. It's a cool dashboard with some neat features that let you do stuff on your social media pages. And we're going to go into that in a bit more depth in this presentation. A really handy thing to know is that it's available on desktop. Personally, I quite like using it on desktop, but there is also a mobile app. And I know for particularly small business owners, when you're trying to do 100 things, you're probably actually trying to run your business from the school pickup line, or, you know, whilst you're making dinner or walking the dog, that can be a really handy thing to have. So that's in a nutshell what it is, but why use it in your business? There are a few key reasons. This here is the expanded menu of all of the stuff that sits within Business Suite. So what you can see is that it is a really comprehensive tool, and there's stuff that's being added and tweaked and shuffled around constantly. So what you're getting is essentially a really comprehensive tool for managing your Meta social media assets, essentially your Facebook and your Instagram, but it's free. It's free. You just have to kind of figure out how to use it. And I think if you're sitting in the small business space, you know, you might be thinking, oh, you know, do I need a third-party piece of software to manage, you know, my posting and my planning and whatnot? Perhaps you do, but this is a fantastic place to start because it has so much going for it. And because it is native to the platform, so as in it is owned by Meta for Meta assets, it works really well with them. So I think it's an excellent place to start.
Yeah, and we do. Natasha's already asked a question, and I wanted to hold off, Natasha, because I wanted to see if the question gets answered. But Lisa, I'm just going to put it in mind. I'm just going to put it out there. It says, "Hi, Lisa. I regularly want to share a post that I see on Facebook to my business page on Facebook, as well as Instagram, and even be able to schedule this for a later date. Is there a way to do that through Business Suite?"
Okay, so we're talking about, so we'll talk about it later on with the planner.
Great.
So we're essentially, the question is essentially sharing content as a plan post. Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I've got it written down and we'll cover it off in them.
Perfect.
Thank you for the question. Love it. So there are a few reasons why, as a business owner, you might use Business Suite. There are tons, but I'm just going to pick a few of my favorites. So it's a really useful tool if you're in small business to be able to collaborate more easily and more securely. So for those of you who have been around for a while, been in business for a while, you may have had a Facebook business page that just had an admin. You may still, that may be how you set it up. And you, in the old days, people would add other admins to their Facebook page, or you'd give someone your Instagram login and they would do things for you. That obviously comes with a lot of risk. We even used to have business owners who would just give over their personal Facebook login so that people could log in and then do stuff to the business page. Again, very insecure way of doing it, or insecure way of doing it. So Business Suite really kind of seeks to make that a more professional and secure relationship. So you're managing your social media in a way that is that is really planned, really professional, really locked down. People only have access to what they need, and they've got it through a third-party dashboard that just gives them what they need. So I think that's really valuable, and that's something that probably one of the biggest benefits, I would say, as a agency owner, because we see a lot of businesses having trouble with, being hacked or being, having their logins compromised. So is vital. Professional post scheduling and content planning. So again, if you're in an ideal world, we're all planning our content months in advance. We know what we're going to talk about. The reality is that can't always happen. But this is a really great way to get lots of people thinking about what to post in one space. You can plan and be really, strategic about it. You can also do things like avoid having two people post within an hour, which I know in small business, it's a thing that people, oh no, I just posted, posted. That happens less and less, but if you're in a small business and you've got a couple of people doing things on the socials, it does occasionally happen, and it's a real pain. So the planning aspect is really, really useful, and the content creation tools are pretty cool as well. Another reason, again, if you're really serious about building community and transacting with people on social media, particularly on Facebook in this, or Instagram in this case, Business Suite makes customer interactions via social much easier to manage. So you've got capability to look at all of your comments, your DMs, and respond to them in one place. You can assign them. We'll go into more detail further down the presentation. But you can also manage sales leads if you're running lead ads, which is really, really useful. So again, if you're a small business that doesn't have necessarily a third-party CRM software, and you're doing most of your selling through social, this is a great way to start. in terms of managing that sales process and that customer communication process. And then, of course, insights. So Business Suite has some really nice insight tools, lets you kind of see what you can, what your social media is doing for you, and that allows you to make good business decisions and plan what you're going to do in the future on social media. So like anything in life, there are some downsides. Meta, obviously, it's built for Meta tools. So Business Suite is built for Meta tools. So if you're looking for something that's going to schedule across platforms that are not on Meta, then this might not be for you. Again, it could still be useful. We do find that people sometimes struggle to get their head around it at the start. It can be a, it's a new piece of software and it's something to learn and understand. So it takes a little bit of patience. Luckily, there are people like us out there, and Digital Boost will have amazing resources to help you understand more about the platform. If it's not set up correctly, this is something we do see a lot. It can cause issues going forward, so it's really important to get set up well. Things can move around, that's the same with any software, but Meta is, I think it's a game in the organisation, like where are we going to move stuff to this week?
Oh, you're kidding. That's amazing. I mean, that is a big complaint, right? That Meta does change a lot. I mean, it's constantly moving and changing. So yeah, good to know.
Constantly moving and changing, yes. And I think for, we're in a fortunate position that we're using the tools all day, every day, in and out. So we will notice it. We've got probably, we've got a bunch of people sitting in a room who are using the tools. So sometimes things will change for one person, but they haven't changed for the other just yet. So it's just something to be aware of. And I guess the key thing is don't freak out, right? Don't freak out if something looks different. There's lots of amazing information on Meta's Help Centre and on Google and YouTube and whatnot. Cool. So having said all of that, I do still love Business Suite. I think it's a great tool. I think it's really useful, and I think we should take a quick tour. So essentially, we'll start at the start. How do you get there? So to get to Business Suite, the easiest way, business.facebook.com. And when you're going back time and time again, /latest, and that will take you back to your Business Manager dashboard. So when you go to business.facebook.com, you'll get something along the lines of the image that I've put on the left-hand side of this slide. So it'll say that you need to get started. So it will get you to log in with Facebook, with your Facebook profile. Meta needs to know that you're a real person. So even if you're inviting your colleagues into your Business Suite, you can invite them using their business emails. They'll still be asked to log in with a Facebook account because Meta wants to know that they are a real person. So once you log in, you'll get a home screen that looks something like this. This is our one, obviously. It's just got a bit of a summary of your activity recently. And then down the left-hand side of the home screen, you can see there's a list of different tabs, and that's what we're going to explore today because that's the key functionality. So here it is in a little bit more detail. So we're going to go through a few, we're going to go through all of these quickly because we don't have all day. So the one thing to know, I'm not going to go through notifications because essentially that's notifications, and I will jump around because in my mind, the way that these headings are laid out is nonsensical. So I'm going to jump around a little bit, but I'll always show you where I am and what I'm looking at. The first thing I think that we'll talk about is combined inbox. So if you're on your dashboard, you can see on the far left of the screen here, there's a little golden arrow, and that's just pointing to the button that you would push to get to the combined inbox. Now, combined inbox is exactly what it says it is. It brings all of your activity into one place. So that is everything from your comments to your DMs. It's really useful to be able to see all of that and across different channels. So you can see there's a golden box around something that says all messages. That's pulling down everything for me. So I can quickly see what's come in, what I need to look at, what I need to think about. You can see the golden box on the right, sort of in the middle of the page there. It says assign conversation, and you can obviously then assign the conversation to various members of your team. So maybe you've got someone who is checking your inbox daily, but you've actually got someone who is someone different who's looking after customer service inquiries or what have you. You can assign the conversation to them, and it will pop up as a notification for them to attend to. Yeah, so it's a fairly simple tool, but it's just really useful for seeing those interactions, and particularly from across Facebook and Instagram, and then if you've got messenger stuff going on as well, and WhatsApp, what have you. It just makes life a little bit easier, which we all need. It's got some other, the combined inbox has other handy features. So a lot of you, I'm sure, will be running instant replies on your pages. If you're not, it's really quick and simple to set them up. So you can see one that we've got here for Matter. You can also set availability. So if you know that you're going to be away for a certain period of time in a day, you can't answer questions. Maybe you've got a sale running through social and you're getting a lot of inquiries, or you actually need to go and have dinner or go to sleep. You can say that you're away, and it's quite useful for organizations potentially that are, maybe if you're doing business overseas, so you've got a slightly different time zone, just letting people know that you're in New Zealand and you'll come back to them in New Zealand working hours. There are other automations that you can set up, which are also really useful. So one example is if you get a lot of inquiries, one that we see clients talk about a lot is jobs. So people contact them asking about, employment opportunities. You can direct them to, direct them somewhere else that's more appropriate for those inquiries. So you could say, look at our recruitment site, or look at this page on our website, or email this email address, or we're not currently accepting applications, or whatever it is. So there are a number of different automations that you can put in place that just make your life a little bit easier, particularly if you feel like you're having to answer the same messages and questions over and over again. Content planner. So the content planner I talked about earlier, and I'll talk about it again now. It's quite a simple tool. It's essentially a desktop planner made digital. You can see it sits where the golden arrow is. It looks like a little desktop planner, a little calendar, and it lets you basically plan and publish your content. So it's a really nice visual way of seeing it. It means that if you've got other people managing social with you, you can all see the same thing. So when things have gone live, when they're destined to go live. So that's, I won't spend a heck of a lot of time on that. The question before about sharing
content.
Yeah. So if you are sharing, so presumably the content that is being shared is already live before it's being shared. So for example, you want to share a post that someone else has done about something, you would need to obviously pick up the link for that post, create a post in your drafts, and then schedule it. That would be fine. The caveat is obviously if the content isn't already live and the destination that you're sharing from, then it's not going to show up in your post. So hopefully that makes sense. I think it was Natasha. If you need another clarification on that, hopefully I understood the question correctly.
Just let us know, Natasha. That answers the question.
Yeah, but this is again, and if you're using, if anyone's had any experience with the third-party apps like Hootsuite or Sprout Social, there are a number of them out there. A lot of them will run something that's really similar to this. The key difference would be that you would see various social media channels outside of Meta represented. So if you are purely looking to market your business through Meta channels, so primarily Facebook and Instagram, this is where you would do it. Another thing I wanted to mention actually, and it just has occurred to me now, is that as far as I can see from all of my research, Threads is not currently integrated with Business Suite. So you might not be able to see or schedule your Threads content here. So if Threads is key to your marketing strategy, bear in mind that one you won't be able to do in here yet. From what I understand, I think it was June or July of this year, they were looking at integrating that. But I guess we'll wait and see what happens there. But I mean, for most people, Facebook and Instagram are going to be your key ones, and they're very well represented. You can also see things like your stories, and it's, not just a post, it might be a reel, you can see all of that. And you can see in the example I have here, these are old posts, you can see, which channel they've posted on, what sort of interaction they've had, what time they've posted. So it's a really nice way of looking at it. The content creator, so we'll spend a little bit more time on this because this is something, I think this is where a lot of people start their journey with Business Suite, because they want a more seamless way rather than just posting to Instagram and sharing back to Facebook. So the content tab, which you can see and where the golden arrow is, it's the two little boxes that look like two little browsers. So that's what you would hit to go to that section of Business Suite, and it's actually quite a grunty tool for what it is. I really like it. It's got lots of different bits and pieces. Primarily, what it's there to do is give you a bit of a rundown of the content that's been published, but also allow you to create content that goes across channels. And then it's got lots of other bells and whistles as well. So this is, an example. If I log in, I'm sort of guys my screen so I can see what I'm talking about. This is some posts from our own social media. You can see gives you a bit of these are all published ones. So it gives me a bit of a rundown of what's happened with them. You'll see none of them are boosted. They're all just organic ones. But on the far, so I've got my little rundown of what's happening, or what's been happening. On the far right-hand side, you'll see I've got a golden box around the two buttons, Create Reel and Create Post. So I thought what I might do is just take you through what it looks like to create a post in Business Suite, because it's a little bit different. So if you were to hit the Create Post button, this is what you would be served. So again, it looks a little bit different if you're going to just jump on Facebook or Instagram and make a post, but it's way cooler. It's a much nicer tool for people who, small business owners who I've spoken to who have migrated across. They all far prefer this, and I do too. So you'll see on the right-hand side, you'll always get a preview. And on the left is where you're going to put in your various bits and pieces. And as you put them in, your preview will start to change. It's pretty cool. You can also switch your preview between your Facebook, what it looks like on Facebook, and what it looks like on Instagram. So you can see the difference. So the first thing, if you're going to make your post, you need to choose where you're going to post it to. So at the top of your little content creation box, you'll see there's a drop down there. It says post to, and then there's a drop down arrow. And you'll see if I drop mine down, it gives me the option to post to Facebook and Instagram. And then some of you will have groups that pop up there as well. But for most of you, it would just be Facebook and Instagram. So you can choose to post to one or both channels. Yeah, it's important to know that if you want to do both, you need to make sure both are ticked. The next bit is your media box. So the media box is where you're going to put your the pretty stuff, your creative. So that might be, it might be a photo, it might be a graphic like I've got here. It might be a video. So it might be a carousel, which is a series of photos. There are lots of different options in terms of the type of media or creative that you're going to upload here. You can, yeah, so that's where you pop that in. If I had put in a carousel, so that's a series of images, you would be able to see that as well in the pre-populated area. And then down the bottom where it says post details, that's where you're going to put your post caption. And I'll spend a little bit more time on that in the next slide. So if you've elected to post to Facebook and Instagram, you will have the option to customize your post per channel, which is really cool and useful because you know, one of my personal acts is when you see an Instagram post with a big fat URL that was obviously meant for Facebook. So that's probably, I reckon, one of the most common ways that people differentiate their copy. So you might have a very similar post on both Facebook and Instagram, but you might say at the end of your Instagram post, you might say, you know, link in bio, whereas your call to action in Facebook could just be a link, which will then people can click on. So I'd say, you know, 99 times out of 100, that's what people are doing with that differentiation, but you can completely differentiate your text. So you might say that people on Instagram, your community is a little bit different and they want your tone of voice a little bit different on Instagram. You can tweak your copy on those two little boxes. So that's a really good one to know. You'll see there's little hashtags, so you can do a hashtag lookup, similarly to what you would do if you were just within, say, Instagram. You can start looking at which hashtags you want to include, and it will give you a list of, you know, if you've got something a bit broader than what I've typed in, it'll give you a whole list that match, and it will tell you for Instagram and for Facebook what the volumes are. So you can pick your hashtags. You can also set up saved hashtags if you're using particular sets regularly. And then you'll see along the bottom, sorry, just going back, along the bottom of the post caption area, there are a number of other little icons. So for example, you know, little emoji and whatnot. There are umpteen other things. Go and have a play in it. They do lots of different things. But as I said, we've only got just under half an hour left, so I'm not going to run through them all.
We do have a few questions.
Oh,
do you
cool.
want to?
Yeah.
I feel like let's just pause and then we'll go into the scheduling options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm working backwards here. So do the hashtags appear in the post or are they hidden? Or can you hide them?
Great question. Yeah. So the hashtags, what you do is you can see on the little box that I've got there that where it shows the hashtag, there's a little check box next to it. So where it says hashtag meta partner, and it's got the Facebook icon with 1,000+. What you do, it is a bit of a trap. You have to put the checkbox on the ones that you want to use, and then it lets you, I think you go add. So you'll, you know, say you add meta, sorry, that's a poor explanation. So if you were to checkbox meta partners, and then you maybe looked up something else, maybe, you know, New Zealand social media agency, you could checkbox that one as well. And then once you've got all of your lists that you want to use within that little tool, you hit add and they'll populate in your post. So they are visible. Yeah, and you just go to, it's quite intuitive when you jump in there. You just have to know to check that little box to say you want to use that particular hashtag.
Great. And then you mentioned posting a carousel. There isn't this capability on our account.
Sorry, say again.
So this particular person is asking about the posting a carousel. They don't see the capability on their account.
They don't see the, okay. I have not come across an instance where it's not available, but they are welcome to email me and I will double check why that might be.
Okay, fantastic. And then we'll get all of Lisa's contact information at the end. So hang tight. Wow, so many questions. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. We do want to get through the content that Lisa has planned, but I do want to answer all of your questions as well. What are your thoughts on adding hashtags to posts on Facebook and Instagram?
Yep. I see no reason not to. So hashtags do help organize your content. We have over the years. So we've been doing this we've been running social media for companies for more than 10 years. So we've seen hashtag trends change over time. It used to be that, you would use a lot more of them. These days, I think being really focused with your hashtags, don't be afraid of ones with smaller volumes that are more relevant. So rather than social media agency, we would look to be NZ social media agency, far less volume, but much more relevant in terms of reaching or connecting with the people that we're actually interested in doing business with. So I'm not a fan of 8,000 hashtags for hashtag sake. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's a shotgun approach, and there's no strategy to it. But I think having a few key hashtags, and as at the start of the year, the last research that I was reading, I think Instagram was saying sort of half a dozen-ish was ideal. So you don't need to be going down the old route of, back in the day where it was 15 or whatever it was, some ridiculous number of hashtags. There's no real benefit at the moment to doing that. But definitely go for those niche ones that really suit the audience that you want to talk to. And I would say that your hashtags might be different on Facebook than they are on Instagram. Sometimes you'll see that there are much higher volumes on one channel than the other. And so be aware of that. You might have slightly different hashtags depending on which channel you're using them for.
And it looks like you can customize it here in this tool. You can either go to
So
Facebook.
So when you're exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Hi, Lisa. Is there a way to add music to new posts in MetaSuite? Are there any rules concerning what music you can add to posts being a small business?
Yeah. So yes, you can add music. There'll be a meta article on doing it, but yes, absolutely. The other part to that question is a tricky one. So if you're running a commercial account, you're running ads, then you can't use commercial audio. It just won't let you. That's the official answer. So if you're running, so you can use
royalty-free music. Yeah.
Is the safest way to go. Yeah.
Otherwise they will pull your ads. I mean,
they will. Absolutely. And they're quite pedantic. We have seen they do watch. We have seen campaigns in the past where there's been a similarity. So it's been kind of not royalty-free music, but there's been some similarity. They will flag it and they will ask. So yes, potentially if you're a small business, maybe you'll get away with that. But if you want to be professional on social and you want to continue to grow, then start as you mean to go on, I say.
And there's a question, how do you know if it's royalty free? I feel like there's a list. You can probably Google royalty free music. And
if you have a commercial account, you actually just can't get that stuff. So it just won't get. So that's the easiest way to know.
Yeah.
Only get the stuff you can use.
All right. I'm trying to organize the questions as they're coming in. I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions.
You're working much harder than I am.
I love how quiet everyone is for a good half hour. And then one person asks the question and everyone's like, I have questions too. Me. I love you guys for asking these questions. These are great. Okay. Here we've got two of a similar question. Can you add alt text image descriptions through the content creator? And then I just want to see, there was another question can we add alt text for images easily in Business Suite? Any other accessibility considerations to keep in mind?
Yeah, so I think I talk about Ads Manager later on, so I'll run you through that. But my view is really that if you are wanting to run full noise ads with, I think Ads Manager is a better place to be, which is a different tool to this. This is a lighter version of what you would expect to find. So I think that it sounds to me like these people who are asking these questions might be using Ads Manager. I would continue to use that if you're comfortable with it, because I think it's a more comprehensive tool that lets you do some of those things more easily.
Great. And then one more question about the carousel. Can you share info about the carousel? I have the same problem. So maybe if we have a moment, we can.
I can do it. Yeah. And
but before we jump onto that, I still have a ton of questions for you. We're gonna get through them. How do you link your business Instagram page to Meta Business?
Getting there.
Okay.
I'll answer that later.
Okay. And then is there a way to make contact with the real person on the Meta Suites? No, Faye. That's what we got Lisa.
Faye. Oh. So interesting. Yeah. So it depends who you are is the answer to that question. Because we are an agency and we are a Meta partner, we actually have contact with mythical creature, which is a real person that works for Facebook or Meta, sorry. So we do have some access. Having said that, we're a Meta business partner. We have advertisers that spend a ton of money on the platform, and it kind of seems our experience is that obviously the more you play in the space, the better access you have to help. Having said that, so for our clients, absolutely. If you're an SME, you can try and get through via their chat, but it kind of depends on the query that you're trying to lodge, and 9 times out of 10 they'll send you around in a circle back to another role.
Yeah. And then I know you're going to answer the alt text question, but there's a clarification here.
Yeah.
We aren't talking about ads, talking about alt text and accessibility. Does that?
Yes, it's a good question. So can you, the original question was? Sorry.
I'm looking.
Oh, good.
Can you add alt text image descriptions through the content creator? And then the other one was, can we add alt text for images easily in Business Suite? Any other accessibility considerations to keep in mind?
Yeah, it's a good question. To the best of my knowledge, it is, I have to check.
Okay.
I'm just trying to remember. Yeah.
Great.
I'll clarify.
All right. Boost or not, is it worth it?
Boost. Yeah.
Boost. All right. Done. That was easy. Great.
So, but understanding that that boosting, to qualify that question, boosting is essentially spending money on ads money with Meta, right? Think about what you're trying to do with that spend, where it sits in your sales and marketing funnel. So why are you boosting? So think very carefully about what you're trying to do. Would that piece of content be better as a boosted post or an ad? Are you going to retarget off it? So there are a few things to think about, but if we're going absolute basics 101, social media, doesn't matter which channel you're on, it's pay to play if you're a business. It is 100% pay to play, and you will get to your objectives much more efficiently if you boost, sponsor, create ads and do it judiciously. But yes, absolutely.
Great. And then one last question, and then we'll move on. To find hashtags, is there an AI or any other tool to find most relevant and bringing best traffics to my post?
Yeah, so if you're using just this tool, you'll obviously be able to see volume, which gives you a bit of an indication of how popular the post is. There are third-party tools that you can use as well. If you just have a quick Google, there are tons of them. I think for most SMEs, I think it's absolutely sufficient to rely on this meta tool. I also think that hashtags are useful, but they are not the be all and end all of getting your post to where it needs to be. So spend a bit of time on them, test different ones, but I wouldn't get tied up in knots over it for hours and hours and hours.
I think that's a good point, especially as algorithms are constantly changing and how our posts are being seen. So I think that's a good point to bring up. Thank you, Lisa. All right. Let's continue.
Oh, keep going. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I'd run you through essentially the absolute basics of setting up a post, and there are a bunch of other features. But some of my favorites, you can keep track of your mentions, so where other people have obviously tagged you. You can also see at a glance, you can see your Instagram grid. So that's really useful. Just, you can sit there with your phone and have a look at your grid, but this is there as well, which is really, really handy. Ads, which is we were talking about this before. So an important note: Business Suite ads is not the same as Ads Manager. They are kind of like, people talk about them interchangeably. They are a little bit different. Ads. They're sort of a lighter version of, it's a nice simple tool to get you started on your way, but you're not setting up campaigns to the level that you would do using Ads Manager. It sounds very much to me like your questioner, the people who'd asked the questions, maybe using Ads Manager. And I think if you've got your head around that and you're using it successfully, I think that's a really fantastic tool. So I would stick with that. But if you are starting, then I think that this is absolutely a great place to start. Really easy, really intuitive, and it will get you started and give you as good a result in terms of your cost per click and whatnot. So you can do things like this is essentially, if you hit on the little I've missed my golden arrow, but if you see down the left-hand side, there's the little Loudhailer icon. If you hit on there, you'll get a summary. I've just picked one. But this, if you were running tons of ads or sponsored content, it would all appear here. You can click into it and get more detail about that piece of content and what's happened with it. That's really useful. To see at a glance what your ads are doing. And you can see that during the campaign and once it's completed. So that's also really, really handy. You can monitor things as they go along. Ads Manager is the more in-depth tool that I'm talking about. That's what we use for our clients who are using Business Suite. That is the more comprehensive tool. I'll give you a really quick insight into it. To get to it, you would go right to the bottom of the left-hand menu where the golden box is showing the 3 lines. Hit that to expand the menu, and then you're going to go down to Advertise and hit Ads Manager. So Ads Manager, as I've said, it's a bit more comprehensive. It looks quite different. You get a lot more detail with your home screen reporting, and you can customize your tabs to see various different things. And then it also has, because it's a tool in its own right outside of Business Suite, it's got a whole lot of additional functionality that Business Suite ads does not have. So it will allow you to do more at a more sophisticated level. An example, kind of a really simple example, is the fact that you can set up campaigns with ad sets and ads beneath them. So if you're running, yeah, so if you're trying to organize different ad sets around various campaigns for your business, then you can do that quite efficiently. And it helps in terms of trialing things and also in terms of seeing how different bits of content work on social media. But if we go back to Business Suite, which is your sort of lighter touch, great place to start ads. If you were to hit create an ad, essentially this is what you get. You get the ability to choose a goal, and then it would guide you through a really simple ad setup. I'm not going to go through that in detail because I was saying to Georgia before this that I think actually you could do an entire session on it. You could probably do 2 or 3. There's a lot to know. But yeah, just to say that you can get started by choosing a goal and then going from there. It will guide you. It is quite an intuitive tool. It is much more intuitive than Ads Manager. So if you are sitting there going, oh, I've never done this before, sounds like she's saying Ads Manager is the best way to go, but man, that looks scary. There's nothing wrong with starting here. Absolutely start here with Business Suite ads and use that tool to get underway with your paid campaigns. It's a great way to do it, and yeah, it's very hard to go wrong using this tool. Lead Center. So for some businesses, we'll be running lead generation ads, and they'll be able to use this. It's essentially like a really basic CRM system. Obviously, it's only taking from your Meta lead ads. So if you're running lead ads elsewhere, then it's not really going to help you. But if you're running them on Meta, then essentially you can get all of your leads to come in to the Lead Center, and then you can manage them and move them across as you take them through your sales process. Yeah, each lead has all the details that have been filled in your lead form, that in your ad that you're running. You can do things like assign leads to people and write little notes as the lead moves through. So it's actually quite a cool, particularly for businesses that aren't running their own, specific CRM software. If you are selling a lot on social media using those lead ads, great for B2B businesses as well. Yeah, it's a really neat little tool and quite simple to use.
Sorry, Lisa. Yeah, Business Suite ads, and I know we've talked about, we can go into a much deeper discussion about this. Can it have its own ad account so you aren't running your paid campaigns through your personal account?
Yes. So what you would do is you would have, yes, so we use our ad account. It will show up in both Ads Manager and in Business Suite. So yes, you can.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Lead Center. I was just going to say that you can connect in your CRM in Business Suite. I've put a link at the end of this that says essentially how to do it. You can also just search it in the Meta Help Center. Don't think Meta would appreciate me saying Google it. But it's a really, that's if you're running sort of other software, and these aren't the only ones. That was just one screenshot. There's tons of them. So if you're running something specific, you can absolutely integrate it. We don't, in all honesty, we don't see a lot of clients do that. People potentially, if they're going to do that, will tend to run something else, maybe like HubSpot, which kind of is an all-in-one management, but it's absolutely an option. And then insights. So this is if you're starting out and you're not, you're just wanting to grow your socials, but perhaps you've got some key KPIs that you're wanting to meet, and this is a great way to start measuring those and just understanding what your social media activity is doing, because I think a lot of the time we start doing things. And then it can be really easy to get discouraged. But I think if you get down into your into your insights and have a look and go, oh, actually, that worked quite well. Oh, we have grown, this much in this time, or that time that I added the boost, that really made a difference. That all of a sudden helps you start to make decisions about what you're going to do with your social media going forward. So it's really worth digging around in the insights section to see what's going on. An example is, you might look at, if you're advertising and you're saying, okay, we really want to get people in, the main centres in New Zealand. You might look at this and go, oh yeah, no, we're getting good representation. Actually, though, we're really Auckland heavy. So maybe we want to do some content that's targeted, purely to Christchurch or Wellington or Dunedin or whatever. So you can start looking at that and making decisions based on what's happening or what's gone on. There are tons of other insights. So you just need to have a fossick around in that tool. And a really cool little tool is benchmarking. That's something that we love doing with our clients. So finding other competitors, people who are doing, similar thing to you on social and have a social media presence on Meta, you can add them and start watching and seeing how your social media stacks up against theirs in terms of consistency, how you're showing up, how you're growing, how they're growing, all sorts of fun little things. So that's that benchmarking tool you'll see if you go into the insights tab. You just hit the benchmarking button and it'll guide you from there. You're literally just looking up their social media profiles and adding them. If you're competitive like me, then it's quite fun. So that was our tour. It was quite a light touch one. As I said, there was a lot of there's a lot of detail. There's so many tools within Business Suite. We could spend all day on it, but this hopefully is enough to get you started, give you the confidence to give it a go, and to just start using the tool with just a little bit of insight that lets you know basically the various things that you can do, so you can start trialing and experimenting.
And Lisa, I'm just keeping an eye on the time.
Yes.
We've got for this. Well, unless I don't know if you have a hard out at 11.
I can go to 5 past.
Great. So if we can, just a little
important.
Okay. So let's thank you.
3 slides, really important stuff. Security. Please, please, please think carefully about how you're setting your business manager up and your business suite. Think about who you've got on those accounts. Make sure that you always have a couple of trusted people, so yourself as the owner, and then ideally another trusted person, so that if one person's locked out, someone else can always get in. When you're offboarding staff, make sure the access is removed. It's really, it's something that gets overlooked a lot. And always have 2-factor authentication. We've had to help businesses who've come to us and been had their business, assets taken over. It's devastating. It's very hard to unpick. So please ensure that you have 2FA for everyone that is in that business suite. Ownership, another key thing. You as the business owner should own your business suite. Do not ever let another agency or third party own that. We come across it again. It's a trap that comes up all the time, and it can be really hard to unpick if you're not doing business with that third party anymore. If you're already set up like that, then talk to someone who, someone like us or someone at Digital Boost who understands the tool and can help you unpick it and get that ownership back, because it's actually a really important business asset. If you have agencies that you work with, so for example, people like us or a graphic designer or whoever that needs access to your business suite, make sure you invite them as a partner, an agency partner. Don't just give them access as if they were one of your team. And I've added a link at the end for how you might do that, or how you can do that. And then the last one, we had the connecting with Instagram question. Make sure you get your Insta connected up. You just go through via the settings, and it theoretically is a 2-minute job. You do need to be able to log into your Instagram. All sorts of funny things. I've seen all sorts of funny things happen when people try and do it. So again, if it's not straightforward, don't freak out and be discouraged. Jump on the Meta Help desk or reach out to someone like us. But yeah, it should be, if you go into Business Suite and then into settings, it should be pretty easy to see from there. And then don't forget to download the app, was my last little tip, because it is super handy. And then the last thing was these useful links, which I might actually send to Georgia to add as live links, maybe in the bottom, in the comments or something.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then I'll add those.
And I can add those other questions that I was going to look at.
Yeah. And then, so the carousel was one of the questions.
Yeah.
And then we just got a last minute
And-
question here. Do you have a link to a useful guide on how to set up Ads Manager from Business Suite, along with the link you mentioned about how to add partners?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. That's so generous of you to offer all of this to us. And I also have to mention, I love Lisa's website. I loved doing a deep dive into Matter, and they are offering this really cool, sorry to put you on the spot. I was really into this offering that they have. It's called Social Sidekick. And you want to tell us just a little bit about it? Because I think it's such a fantastic offering for SMEs. Yeah.
Well, so Social Sidekick, I describe it like an IT help desk, but for social media. So I have a team of people who are absolute geeks on this technical stuff. And we sort of are looking around going, oh, we get so many questions from our clients that we resolve all the time. Wouldn't it be lovely to offer that out to SMEs as well? Because we know that it can be really overwhelming. So there's that part to it. And then it also helps people who are really new to ads, social media ads, particularly Facebook and Instagram. It helps them set those up and run those so that they can be out there in a paid capacity in a really professional, managed way.
It's fantastic. And Lisa, what is the best way if people want to reach out to you? Obviously, you all know you can reach out to us here at support@digitalboost.co.nz with any of your questions. And also to get in touch with Lisa. Lisa, is LinkedIn best, or what's the best way?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of ways. Definitely LinkedIn, please. Absolutely. I love making new friends on there. And then the other way is just to hit matteragency.co.nz. So it's Matter, MATTER, and then agency, AGENCY.co.nz. And just fill in our contact form. It'll get funnels through to me if you just mention that you were in this session. I'll get the team to funnel it through, those ones through to me, and then I'll just make contact and answer any questions. Very happy to.
All right. And just one quick last question, Tim. Thanks for sneaking that one in there. If you are posting from the Instagram app and cross-posting to Facebook, there is now an option to post to Threads as well. But of course, you don't get scheduling options and everything else. Oh, it's a comment. Thanks, Tim. Yeah. Yeah.
That may change based on my information. Yeah, so we'll see.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And then Sonia says, fabulous workshop. Thanks, Lisa. You're a star. All caps.
Oh, thanks, Sonia. Love that.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. Lisa, I'm glad that you were able to stay over. Thank you, everyone, for asking your questions. And again, any other questions you might have. For those of you who are not Digital Boost members and you got the link in through our social media, go on to Digital Boost, sign up. You have access to Lisa's. This is going to live forever, well, as long as this is relevant, on the Digital Boost platform. And you can come in and search for Lisa. We're going to do more events with Lisa in the future. We're probably going to dive deeper into ads and some other topics that Lisa and her colleagues are really, really on top of. So such a pleasure, Lisa.
Oh, thank you for having me.
so much.
It was wonderful.
This is great. So you go run to your meeting. I'm going to
Well,
run to
thank
my
you.
next one. Everyone else run to your meetings or grab a coffee and relax, whatever you feel like doing. And I will see you soon. Matewa.